You ready? Let's just take a moment to enter the presence that's been here all day, watching us work and play. Just to reconnect to it through conscious breathing. Just noticing the sensations of air coming through our nostrils, drawing that life-giving energy as far down our spine as we would like, maybe even a little bit further than we usually do. Letting that belly rise, letting ourselves feel fulfilled. And then the relief of letting that go. Just to re-enter the reminder that there's nothing that we have to strive for. There's no forcing this flow. Just tapping in, playing in the energy that we are. Maybe we enter this conversation with our hearts and ears open, hold space for letting each other express from the heart to the mind, dancing the soul of being here. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thanks for tuning in with the ReMinders podcast. Got a full conversation to share with y'all today. So full, in fact, that I'm splitting it into two parts. I sat down with my good friend Autumn a few days ago to record this after getting back from Grateful Fest at Nelson Ledges here in Ohio. And we are really just reflecting and integrating our experiences through this conversation. Just want to give a little bit of background on Autumn. She gets into it more so, I think more so in part 2. But Autumn is a professional cuddle coach, so she works with nurturing touch and holding space for people in a platonically physical way that I really haven't seen too much of. I really feel like she's on the front line of pioneering a new approach to therapy, and I got to experience some of that myself yesterday. She led, for the first time, a group session just yesterday, this past Sunday. And yeah, I can't say enough about how potent this is as a medicinal practice of just letting human bodies be human bodies in close proximity to one another. We put so much emphasis on communicating through the mind, through words, through language, and there's all of these different domains of information and of intelligence that also would benefit from communicating. We'll get more into that. Quick heads up from the top here. We end up talking a lot about some non-traditional supplements. Do I know how to wink? In this episode, and this is in no way an endorsement or general encouragement for others to do similarly. Do your own research. Obviously, trust yourself, trust your people. This isn't a broadband prescription of what works. This is just us talking about our personal experiences and the experiences that we had with our new small community. We'll get more into the details of what exactly I'm talking about in the episode. But yeah, just putting that out there because we're speaking on something that has been both demonized and glorified in different parts of society, and my intention is not to do either one, but just to be real about my own experience as a way of my own personal relating to these things and finding out that that some medicines have been demonized out of less than trustworthy intentions. With that said, thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy this lively conversation with my homie Otto.
That was a beautiful setup. Wow.
My bestie.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks for doing this with me.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really just feels like we're sitting here having a conversation. You're right.
I mean, you and I have never sat in these chairs to converse in this way, but many other places in the house we've casually had very deep conversations.
We've just been there for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, we just did on the balcony. I was like, all right, this is getting too good. We better get some microphones involved.
Let's go on in and do it.
Yeah. So we just got back from Grateful Fest a couple of days ago, and
wow,
one of the best weekends of my life. I'm just gonna say it. It feels true.
Yeah, the best weekend, hands down.
So good.
So good. I mean, I've had some good times before, but never such life-changing, pivotal experiences. And I just had 27 hours.
Right.
My gosh.
Right.
I can't even imagine.
A little concentrated.
I know. I feel completely
of...
like Church of Chill.
Literally.
I know nothing still. And I can't wait to just dive into that, because the people involved in that, Cass and Sean, are just the coolest literal people that I have not really even met.
We have now.
I mean, sort of, I kind of just tapped in, but I was looking through, I didn't have any pictures of them.
Really?
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. We did kind of, Sean said we were off to the races once we got back from that hike, like the three of us, which is funny because I thought we were behind them. I thought we were catching up with them. But anyway, yeah.
Interesting.
So for the listeners that aren't in the room,
when
we're talking about Church of Chill. So Church of Chill is the online community, and it's actually like the name itself is a radio show that Sean does. Yeah. So he puts together these curated playlists, and just it's supposed to be like, soundtrack for journeying into the mind, journeying into creativity and art, and just flow, and just having a bouncy soundtrack. And so that's something he's been doing for years. And so Sean and Cass are filmmakers from New York. They put together this documentary last year. A lot of it took place at the spot that we were at this weekend, Nelson Ledges, which one of the most magical places, at least in Ohio, maybe the country.
I mean, whoa. Yeah. When I went swimming and I jumped off that cliff into the water, that underwater cliff, and then was you could feel the depth, and it was so blue, but nothing would have prepared me for what was in the woods.
Yeah.
Caves, massive rocks.
That was the big surprise for me, because I've been to Nelson Ledges a good handful of times. I think the first time I went up was maybe 2017 for Pyro. And that was similar to your experience. I went up and came back. We went up there, I want to say either the Friday or Saturday night, and basically were just there for the night and came back the next day. And that was way less magical. I mean, it was a fun time, but it rained, and it kind of got almost rained out. I think it was 4 of us shoved in this tiny little tent, just all soggy sardines in this tent, and
van life, right?
Yeah. So it was really Summer Dance that got me. My buddy James and his crew from Columbus would go up to Summer Dance, which is Lotus's festival, every Labor Day weekend. I think it's still happening. And so I went up there for, I want to say 3 years in a row.
Wow.
And the last one might have been 2019. So it's been
a minute.
Years.
Yeah.
And every year, every summer, I'm telling everybody I need to get to Nelson Ledges.
Absolutely.
And it's just such an amazing synchronicity and just perfect unfolding that it happened to be the Very Ape crew, Church of Chill.
Very Ape, that's what
Very
it
Ape
is.
is the name of their podcast.
Oh my God.
Nirvana song reference. And anyway, so they do an annual get-together for their community called Space Camp. And I guess in years past, they've hosted it themselves at different people's places and whatever. And this year they're like, why don't we just do it at a festival? Just make it easy. If you want to go to this festival, go to the festival and we'll be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a great festival to do it for. It was just $100 for a couple of days, $125 if you got there Thursday.
Wow.
Really chill music. I mean,
Vibes.
that was the one thing, is the music was almost an understatement for our time there. Like, we did go to the stage, and,
Wow.
and I went Friday for like at least the headliner, and we caught like some bluegrass dead tributes and stuff, but it was like much more about the community building than like just being at the stage and like being in a super dancey vibe or whatever.
Well, it wasn't meant for us. I mean, we tried.
Yeah.
We tried real
I got my
hard.
dance on a little bit,
You did,
both
did.
nights. Yeah, for sure.
It was just for a minute though, but we were over there waiting for that organ to be fixed, man. Like, come on. We're over here. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I know was feeling it. The fact that he was a little bit anxious for like,
Yeah.
I need music right now. We need to be moving.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was okay to just like, so we just chill until the music starts. I wasn't even fretting about it. But so do you want to tell the tale of? So I'm there. I get there Thursday night. Late. Like, I didn't realize that the gates closed at midnight. I got there like 11:45.
Yeah, you did, because you were leaving here super late.
Yeah,
you were even like slow with it. You're like, I'm just gonna take my time.
Yeah, in fact, let's reel it back. So before going, I had a full day at work. I just got stung by a hornet the night before or the day before at work, doing some landscaping stuff, and I get home and I'm like, it was not an easy day. It was like a lot of shovel work,
bro. Your
like
hand,
just Mickey Mouse hand stuck in this little gardening glove, trying to use this shovel all day, and it took a beating.
Yeah.
Like, I bought a smoothie from Bee Cafe because it sounded good, and we were like just down the street from there. I was like, I'm gonna stop and get a smoothie. But half of it was just to hold something cold. It's like, I did not ice this yesterday, like nearly enough. So anyway, I get home and I run into you. I thought you were out for the weekend camping.
Right. Yeah, because I had just come back from Red River Gorge, man. Did my first jump on a ledge there, which was funny that I went straight from that to Nelson ledges where it's like, I'm about to jump off some rocks, man.
Gotcha. Wait, what did you jump into?
Red River.
Oh. It's a river? Wait, there's a river over there?
There's a river over there. Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
I just thought it was a bunch of trees and rocks.
Definitely the rocks. I think the rocks.
Yeah, it's usually towards the bottom of those rocks.
Okay. I don't know that I've ever looked that far down. I'm usually so high up on those rocks.
there is a river there.
Gotcha. How big was that jump?
It was like 20 feet, man.
So pretty similar to... Oh, you didn't do the full jump.
I actually didn't. I went out there by myself. I missed it. We were kind of like traveling around. I got to walk with Cass, though, which was really cool. Okay. And we got some legendary sandwiches. Man,
yes,
clutch.
Yes.
But yeah, anyways. So yeah, coming back from that.
So I'm coming back from work, and I run into you, and I was pleasantly surprised. So we kick it a little bit, and
did some work.
I will say, I will say, like, I mentioned this to you when you got there on Saturday, but it meant so much to me. So I'm complaining to you about my stung hand, and you're like, oh, can I like do some lymph work on you? You could explain it better, but like just to say that, like, I almost broke down crying just the fact that you offered.
Aww.
Like, I didn't even realize that, like, there was something in me that just like was kind of craving like someone wanting to take care of me just for a moment, for a moment to be like, yes, please. Yeah,
I accept.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all around you. Definitely. Sometimes you have to ask.
But that's the thing.
But,
yeah.
Fuck yeah,
and
man.
it's almost like, I want to say it's almost sad, but it's also really beautiful to see that, like, sometimes it takes pain or an injury or dare say even catastrophe for us to really come together and like allow ourselves to be taken care of.
Seriously.
Or to step up and take care of others, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rather than, I don't know, those are just sort of the checkpoints. Like, that's life.
Yeah, suck it up.
Giving the feedback. Like, you've been holding on to this, in some sense, an imbalance, I guess. You know what I mean? In some sense, pain or whatever it may be, lack of flow. And it's like, if we're not totally in the deep flow, life is going to have those obstacles, If we're not flowing in the river, we're going to get some snag, hit some rocks or whatever. And those bees were my rocks, and they hit me pretty hard.
And dude, your poor hand, man.
It finally cleared up by like Saturday. But anyway, so I wanted to acknowledge you because that really did mean a lot to me. And I probably should have just let myself totally ball with you in that
Yeah,
moment.
hey.
Like I feel like I sort of held it back, so next time, we're working out to it. Yeah. But just
I give you
meant
2
something to me.
invitations with that. I invite you to ask for anything, especially when it comes to touch with me. You know what I mean? I'm very comfortable there. So it's like, especially if you're uncomfortable, let me just be like, I'm uncomfortable, but I kind of like want this. Like, if you could just help me not be swollen or just like hold me.
Thank you.
It's there.
I mean, that's so hard. It's so talk about the currents of life and trying to get in a flow. Our society is so in the flowing direction of like creating that taboo and that like, especially for men, I will say, like for all humans in this society for sure, but especially for men, that just, classic, I'm getting at.
I do. Can't be a creep, right?
Can't be a creep and like real men don't cry and that type of thing too,
going
and
real
like
deep.
all of that. Yeah.
I think the strongest thing a man can do is cry. I think it's
so.
the strongest thing they've ever done to feel. I think it's the strongest thing that they'd have done to stop feeling, and then the counterbalance that the strongest thing is then to allow it to come up. So
yeah. So anyway, you really
tears.
gave me some beautiful medicine just by being you before I left, and like that was part of the reason why I left so late. Because I was just we were vibing and whatever, and also talking about a trip that I had just taken to Hocking Hills with my family, and just sort of processing that, and that was really beautiful. And anyway, so I finally hit the road and like get there super late, and I was thinking about just hitting the hay. Like I'm like, all right, it's midnight. I've been up for however many hours since 6:30. Like I might just get some sleep and like meet the crew in the morning. But once I got parked, I was like, okay, let me go over there.
Everybody.
And so I'm like
it.
trying to find their camp spot. I know what the number is, but it's
in the
dark.
and all these people walking.
And like there are signs, but it's dark, and like the roads aren't roads.
No,
they're little pathways. Some look like just in between 2 camps. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
was it
getting
super busy?
lost. So this was Thursday night. It wasn't crazy, but there were people out,
right?
And definitely, I was surprised how many people were already camped.
Right on.
So anyway, eventually I get a little lost. I find myself at this cross section, and I see this like alien dude just with like a hood, like the little cat ear hood things. You know what I'm talking about? Dooley doos. Just like noodling around with this green laser. Like bro looks more lost than I am.
The lasers this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm glad they like hit at the beginning when you landed, because
That was like the entrance. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And this guy's like, hey. I'm like, hi. He's like, but like lingering, like it wasn't like a passing hey. And I was like, he's like, it's me.
It's me.
I'm like, I know a lot of me's. Who are you? He's like, it's Sean. I was like,
no
dude,
shit.
what's up? And we like gave each other a good hug, and then like, whatever. And he was just joking about it. He was like, I could have messed with you for a while. Like, yeah, you definitely. I did not recognize you. Last person with the ears and stuff that I would have imagined was Sean. You know what I mean? So
I
anyway,
want to see Sean in that space.
So he took me back to their spot, which wasn't far from where we were, and just hung out with the crew that day, and had a beautiful Friday and Saturdays rolling around too, and just in the vibe of the festival, just really tapped a flow. Like I was telling you on the balcony, like this weekend was truly an experience of me not having to try to be myself. In contrast to what I was telling you about the Hocking Hills trip, where I was like trying not to be myself.
Yep.
I'm just in this moment kind of putting that together, that juxtaposition, like contrast of wow. So that was just such a beautiful confidence boost in hindsight. Like we were just flowing. Like it didn't feel like no real drama came up, like nothing needed to be dealt with, at least as far as I was dealing with. And just playing the music, just having the conversations, giving the hugs, whatever it may be. So anyway, I'm just having a grand old time, and like low key expecting, because it was a mystery, or it was a little bit of a question mark whether or not you guys were gonna make it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
at least
it was
Friday
sketchy
night
until I would say Saturday morning.
Yeah, so I was starting to get a little bit anxious as to whether or not it was going to land, and like the timing of you guys landing, because we were about to have a little ceremony and go on a hike. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously I'm going to wait for my friends, but it might mean that I'm going to miss the hike. And it just landed so perfectly. One of you guys called me, and you're like, somehow at the campsite of my friends. I didn't know how that happened.
So that's what the ticket was.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we
now I
rolled up.
realize.
Listen how we roll up. God, I'm so anxious, right? This is pre-ceremony. And so I'm just like the old me. And I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Nobody's going to like me. Everybody's going to be like, who is this?
Oh,
and
tell me,
happening?
is that what you're thinking?
All the time.
Really?
Right. Well, it was. It's been days
On the drive
now.
up and everything?
Yeah,
Really?
man. And I'm like, thank God Sean's here, right? Because I trust this person so much. But like,
did you and Ryan get to like kind of hash, like, were you being vocal about that on the ride up? Were you guys talking about that a little bit?
I was talking
I'm
about
curious.
some other things.
Yeah.
Because like there's so
Right.
much going on.
There's a lot going on.
Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so no, I didn't actually vocalize that.
Gotcha.
But I've never been to a festival like this, right? The festivals I've been to are the festivals my friends throw, which is pretty dope. And that's really cool. But like, this is a Grateful Dead festival. I don't know their music, bro. Can I whisper into this?
No one there did. No,
it's just like, is this weird? I'm getting used to this. I kind of like it. Whoa.
Play with it. You thought you were gonna be nervous with the microphones. Just gotta work it,
Look at
baby.
that. We're learning and growing. That's what it's all been about too, since landing with you guys. But yeah, so I was super anxious. I was like, people are gonna see me and they're gonna be like, get out, just go. You're gonna ruin the vibe, girl. You know what I mean? Like, I know. That's like,
whose voice is that?
what part of me is that? Oh, that's that teenage girl, right? That's the girl that was just like excluded from all the things.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
like just is awkward and cringy. Like I'm cringy, and I know that about me. So like it's real. Like people, I get where that comes from, but we're working on it.
It's cringe for people who aren't ready. For people who are ready, it's medicine.
Ooh, yeah. Well, and I think the more I refuse to accept myself, the worse the cringe has been.
Right. Because it can flow more freely.
Yeah, this whole self-acceptance allows that to be like, oh dang, instead of making people cringe, you actually are like, okay, well that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I was being true. I was being authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. Cringe moves to cool when you just like love what it is and that shadow part. But
and that's when it's actually cringe to me, is when it's like someone's trying to be XYZ. When we're trying to be cool, we're trying to impress people. That's where like the cringe factor comes in, because people can sense that.
Yeah, I've been trying hard.
You just made me spill my tea.
I'm like,
speaking of,
please. I just want to love everybody. Please love me back. Am I cool enough for this? Like, if coming into a music house, as somebody who does like know nothing about music, if that wasn't the most humbling thing to like, I want to be cool.
Well, you immediately got yourself one of the drums.
I did.
You're like, I gotta get in
right.
on this circus.
We'll figure this out. You should see me now. Just speaking of, I'm taking lessons because freaking dope musicians. I can do two things at once now, which is pretty cool with my hands.
Learning to juggle.
It's pretty sweet. Anyway, sidetrack. But so I roll up on them, and I, for one, driving through there on Saturday, because we got there, Saturday evening, 4 or 5.
Right.
And
peak of the festival.
I mean, it took us forever just to drive back there, and like not squash anybody.
Right. Driving 5 miles
and I've never seen anything like this, dude. The forest, I mean, the location. And I heard everybody say that it's not very often that you get to have a festival at such a beautiful location. That's really has a lot to offer in the woods, man. Talk about medicine.
Just being there, let alone having your friends, your extended family, let alone a whole daggone festival.
Seriously. So
amazing.
I mean, just driving into that.
Yeah, real quick, just to set the picture for anyone that hasn't been there. We're talking stage on a beach.
Yep.
Full shakedown street in either direction. Little pavilion. You can chill under the pavilion. There's tables, beach, stage, beach quarry.
Yeah.
You can swim to an island, which you did on Sunday.
Totally. And
Past
it's far.
that, there's cliff jumping. And then over here, there's this whole campground. We found out, as we're going to get to, that go even deeper. There's a whole nother land of hiking and...
unlike you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. In caves. We went into caves and had waterfalls.
Felt like Hocking Hills. Very similar terrain.
Never been to Hocking Hills either.
Very similar.
So little things, actually. It's wild. Oh, and the woods, though, are really cool because there's so much camping out there that they've cleared the ground level of the forest there. And so it's just people and colors and, just all this beautifulness, and then it's like above that is the canopy and like the higher parts of the trees, and it's like
I kept saying that. I
whoa.
was just like, I love these tall trees. I love looking up to them and just like, keep your head up. Just like such loving vibrations, this green, vibrant life,
Life. I mean, yeah, and there was so much life there. There was so many people and so many just like, I think I've had perceptions, of what to expect with this, but in my own thinking that I don't fit in, like I'm not going to fit in here, and like I'm not free enough, I'm not colorful enough, I'm not whatever it is. I'm not just like relaxed enough. People here are relaxed and I'm trying to relax. So as we pull up to this campsite, we don't know what to do, and it's packed. I mean, like cars are squished in on each other. You don't know
any of the people?
I have no idea what's happening. Thank God Ryan's driving. And I was like, I look over and we're just kind of parked and we're looking, and Madison, is it cool to say names?
Sure.
Yeah. She looks over.
I don't mind. We'll see if they mind. Probably not.
Love you.
Yeah.
Wow, what a moment.
Big time.
So she like looks over and is just like, why are they staring into our camp? And I was like, we're 2052. And they're like, what? That's all. I didn't know what to say. I was like, we're 2052 or like P05. I don't know what it was. Yeah. But she was like, oh, you're Shanti's friends.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, yup. Hi. We're here. I don't even know what to do. I have no idea how to greet you.
So
I have no idea how to fold into this.
How were they welcoming and just? I'm sure, yeah.
So welcoming.
Because they knew that you were coming, and it wasn't totally random. But I wasn't there for this, so this is new to me.
Well, see, it was the moment that I pulled up that I realized I had no idea who these people were to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
true.
And then as the weekend unfolded, I was like, you all haven't known each other for years and years and years. You guys haven't been doing this. I thought this was a thing you guys did annually as homies. You mean you guys are coming together over this podcast and documentary filmmakers, and like they're what they provide to the world as medicine? Like, what?
Right.
What?
Right.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, I remember that was Saturday night.
Concept of that.
I somehow mentioned it to you, and you're like, "Wait, you just met these people too?"
My mind was blown.
Like I was nervous driving up too. Like I'm rolling in solo.
You
like
were talking.
I had met Sean and Cass.
It's going to be a gathering of the homies. And when you say homies to me, we homies.
Okay,
we
that's a good point, because different people have different definitions of all words, but definitely homie, and I use that very liberally.
You do. Yeah, because like we live together, so we as homies.
Yeah, and that's how Ryan defines it. I've noticed too. Yeah. To him, homies are the people that live in the home.
Who lives here?
Yeah. To me, it's like people that I could live with. I don't know.
Totally. And
it's extended. It's like a homie of a homie is a homie.
That's true. I mean?
It's
I would have thought you'd have met those homies though. Like when I hear homie, I'm like, there's like, these are homies.
That is typically how I reserve the term for sure. But
they were. But I got to tell you, they were all of those things. And it was my nervousness, because I don't know how to integrate always, that like had me feeling, I don't know, I guess more anxious. But that went away instantaneously. I mean, that's the thing about, I get it now at these festivals, is everybody's just so in love and so open-hearted and so generous and so like, I don't even know. I really still, even all the, these days later, I have no deeper terms for it to make it seem more impactful, because it truly is the most impactful thing. But they just like, were like, let's get in here. And there was a perfect spot for that van. They didn't even have to move the cars. They were like, oh, we're going to move the cars. We'll shuffle things around. And I was like,
Ryan said,
yeah. Griff held the tree back, man. The tree made room. Griff just like held that little break. We didn't even have to break a leaf off.
Dang. Yeah, that's what blew my mind too. Once I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys just backed right in. Just like
how I
And then
no
Ryan
idea.
could pop his trunk, and we have our little VIP sitting lounge, just like at Hope Fest and whatever else. Just like classic Ryan at a festival. Just like such a vibe, man.
It was.
He breaks out his jam sets, and like the homies are like, I've never seen this instrument before, but like it's probably an instrument. Like I feel like that's what Paige was saying. Yeah. Like I just figured, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know this was like
a thing.
Bro made these from scratch, like legendary hand
and
drums.
that's how I got him here, remember, so this all comes together because I was like, he's like, I have to work on this video, and I was like, man, I hear you, and I want to support your dreams, and I'm trying not to like manipulate, as we talked about, I'm trying to be inspiring and not manipulative. And I really want to go, and I don't want to go by myself, and I need him to go with me.
I'm gonna clarify. So in this conversation we were having on the balcony or the deck before I left, I was like, there's still 2 tickets that could be used. I didn't know you were going to be here. Like, are you at all interested? And you're like, actually, maybe Saturday. Maybe I can get Ryan to come with. I was like, if anyone could, it would be you. And you were like,
I know.
And you used the word manipulative in some sense. And I was like, you're not manipulative. You're inspiring.
Yes,
I love that you've been running with that.
I'm running with that.
It's such a good reframe.
It really
Seriously.
is. It really
Those
is.
are different energies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've always, because I know how, I know I can be charismatic. And I've been burned by charismatic people. So I worry about that charm. And I don't want to ever use it to be fully self-serving, although sometimes it is.
When yourself includes the well-being of everybody,
right.
Be self-serving.
Right. So I'm like listening to Ryan, and he's like, I got to do this with video, and I want to really focus on capturing the right video. And I'm like, for the drums that you want people to take to festivals? Cool, man. That's basically what it felt like. I was like, well, this serves you. You know what I mean? And so then I got to like
straight facts.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, the footage, dude. So that was his end, was like, hey man, come and you know, we'll make that a priority. And I was very much encouraging of that. Yeah. Like, I want to go there for my reasons, you know. But since you're coming and you have your reasons, like, I will ensure that we prioritize your reasons too, because you're really doing a solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's been making these drums for a couple of years now, perfecting the recipe, and he wants to make promotional videos for them, and we all want this for him too. We want to help.
Check it out, everybody.
Make it happen. Yeah,
legendaryhanddrums.com.
Yeah,
Ryan's crushing it.
Yeah,
we should have one.
All of our shit. Yeah, seriously. I do want to add jams to the podcast at some point. Like that's definitely part of the long-term vision for sure.
Yeah, it's totally the medicine.
So you guys pop in, and I bop over and see you guys, and it was just like, I'm already in the flow, like, you know, just.
Oh, you came in like a ray of sunshine in the forest. I'm not kidding, dude. I have the pictures of it because I was snapping back. I couldn't believe it was the one where you're eating the apple. Oh, yeah. And I didn't post one of them because I wanted to give it to you special, because it wasn't like, it's one of those like not super great picture, but the way the light is shining on you, it's like special. You know what I mean? Nice. I was like, well, you know, that might not be, it's just something I think you want to see. Nice. So maybe
I'll pop a couple of them into the edit.
Yeah. Seriously, you're just glowing. And so like you come walking into the woods glowing, and I was like, Shanti, what's happening to you? I want some. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and it was just such a cherry on top of an already perfect, beautiful experience. And the fact that 2 of my very best friends could be there and just make that peak so much more like grounded into my life here. Totally. Rather than it being a sort of isolated incident, or like, I went off and like made connections with a different network. Like maybe I can bridge them to the Cincy fam at some point. But the fact that you guys were there with me, like that made such an impact to those people too, to know that like they could tell that we're coming from a solid community.
Oh my God. Yeah. They were like, I felt like I got a lot of like, y'all together? And I'm like, well, not together, but like homies. And there's like 3 more. Yeah. You should come check us out.
And that's just the house.
That's just the house.
You know? So
it was really awesome. And I didn't get to participate in any of the things because we landed so late, and then it was just, well, what I noticed was with the group that you guys had, and I don't know anybody's name, and so I don't know who listens to this, and I don't want to like not call people out and be like, y'all rock, because you do. I just you all became light beings pretty quickly. And I mean, there was like yoga and breath work every day. There was this, you know, it felt very One Earth collaborative kind of thing, where it's like intentional, and we're going to focus on like some healing work and some intentionality. And so when I learned about that, I was like, dude, super dope. I love that you guys are bringing all of it together. It was powerful.
Definitely. Yeah, we had some serious yoga in the mornings. The first one like just about knocked me out. That was Maddie led that one. Yeah. And it was great, but I had to take a nap afterwards.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. Yeah. It's just a long shavasana.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Sometimes I need that like psychic reset after yoga to like really let it integrate into my body, and then I can move on with whatever
I think
it is.
I heard you saying that weekend when like Shavasana is never long enough.
Yeah, I did.
5 minutes? I need at least 10. I think that was your exact words.
That's a quote.
That's a quote.
Make it 10 or 20.
Right.
An hour class?
Come on.
At least
Let me
half of that's
rest.
got to be me laying down.
You guys did have us with the yoga, man. What was it? Camel pose?
Yeah.
Doing camel pose in such a heightened state.
Oh my gosh.
At the peak of the full moon on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
My whole heart opened.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean for that one.
Yeah.
I guess that's Sean and Cass's move for those types of experiences. But yeah, he showed me that, and I couldn't get into it without making noises out of my mouth. You know, like
Okay.
it was almost difficult to get into. Like this is like, imagine you're on your knees and your
Back to
hands are on your heels. So you're just making this big stretch of the spine, just looking straight up. And it's great. It's super opening. And that felt like such a mind-blowing access point to a level of yoga that like I haven't currently been on.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? It was a game changer.
Game changer.
To add that to my toolbox of favorite yoga poses, like, yeah, that was very activating.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, you guys get there. We were about to, like I said, ceremony. We were about to have this medicine go around the circle with whoever was willing and wanting. Basically, a minimal dose of MDMA.
Yeah. That's what they said. Minimal effectiveness.
A minimal effectiveness.
I want to talk about that a little bit for me because like MDMA has been in my periph for a long, long time. And, you know, I have a background with substance abuse, not me personally. You know, in families, it's like you're either the addict or the codependent. And so I chose to be the codependent. And so like substances has been kind of scary for me, but I have been feeling the call towards MDMA for a long time.
Where did that come from? Because I heard you say that. I'm curious. Where was that call coming from?
Just in things that I've heard about it, about how people have
about it more and more.
Yeah, I've just heard about it more and more. And I did, you know, I'm a researcher at heart. So I'm like looking into it and what people feel and think and the experience of it. And I'm just like, that's it. Like that's whatever is still blocking is like, that's going to be the medicine for me. You know, some people get called to ayahuasca for different things, you know, you know, mushies definitely have their deep internal work. I mean, the biggest healing ceremony I've ever had was been on, you know, Mother Mushroom. And that was just as profound, but different.
In a different way.
Way different.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I had the idea that like, okay, if this comes to me in a way that I feel really safe, I'm here for it. And I've been calling it to me for probably about a year now, and it hasn't come to me not one time.
That just shows again the perfection of the synchronicity of how we landed in that moment together.
It actually did. I'm gonna tell you a funny story because I lied there. It came to me back a couple months ago after I had moved in here. There was some music festival here in Cincinnati. It was just one night, but it was called Cuddle Puddle. Do you remember that coming through? We knew some people who was hyping it up, but I mean, apparently it was going to be like a big drug fest and like all of that. Yeah. And I knew some people and they're like, man, I'll hook you up if you want to go. I get you tickets and I got you. I can get you. Called it SAS or whatever, you know. And I was like, nope, not it.
Yeah, like
that's not going to be what heals me. But I've been ready, right? And so I even had the conversation with Ryan on the way down. I was like, you know, if this comes to me in a way that feels good, I'm gonna take this medicine. And he's like, that's good for you, but I'm not gonna partake.
Oh, okay.
For sure. But yeah, we get out of the car though, and you just instantly come up to me glowing, and you're like, so we're about to do this ceremony.
I'm on my way this way.
Yeah,
if you guys are ready, let's go. If
it's
not,
happening
like
right now.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I don't want to pressure, but like my flows go in that direction.
Yeah, we're going. And so I was like, okay. So now I've landed in something I don't understand and I don't know what's happening. I think it's just a bunch of people who like Grateful Dead.
Oh, right. Just
Yeah. Like no clue. So I'm just like, okay, these are just like a bunch of people who love Grateful Dead and like festival scenes. And I can't wait to like meet people and see things. I had no idea it was intentional. I had no idea that you guys were like coming up from like this whole weekend experience for this night. And then here comes two strangers. Talk about chill to just let two people that you do not know fold into that.
Seriously.
Whoa.
I will say, as chill as they are, and it probably would have been similar, but I think there was probably something to be said for just in the same sense that I was calling these people I hadn't met, my homie, you know, I was calling them homies. I think that Sean and Cass also trusted my homies to be homies of theirs.
Thank God.
Just throwing that out there too.
Yeah, and so I appreciate that they trusted, but like everybody else
too.
Like,
yeah,
I
good point.
Mad
good
respects to everybody there who, you know,
that's such a good point. I was thinking from the perspective of Sean and Cass. You're right. Like all the people who like also were meeting people for the first time, just got comfortable with them over the weekend. Like now we're gonna do this thing. You had 2 new people to the mix. I hadn't thought about that at all, but that might have bugged me out.
So thank God I didn't know what was happening, because I think if I would have realized that's what was going on, I wouldn't have done it, because I wouldn't have wanted to affect somebody else's experience. And I would have felt like, ooh, you know what I mean? These people have a thing here.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I think I was pretty. I don't think I offended anybody. I think we kept chill vibes. So everybody was like, okay, we're glad. But I recognized later that had to have given at least some of the people a little spike of cortisol.
Probably, yeah.
And you know, I'm anti-cortisol, man. I'm like consent and like all of that. I'm like, I'm not trying to bring anybody stress. You know what I mean? So. I think had I understood what was happening there, I would have approached it different, because I just bebopped in thinking like, this is how the fucking festival people do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt very much to me like, yeah, whoever wants to get in on this, you know, we have this medicine. If you want to partake with us, like, let's go. I didn't realize how ceremonial it was, which then just like makes it even more aligned. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it makes me even more grateful that y'all allowed that.
I was really grateful at Cass's words before divvying it up, like, because honestly it wasn't like, we had our yoga, we had like everyone's on their, you know, as Sean likes to say, like, be your own shaman, you know, we were all on our own sacred path, but like there wasn't that much like community, like intentional, like let's sit and like, I don't know, whatever it may be. Yeah, like whatever it may be, you know, it was very much free flowing, like, you know, renegade style. And that was the first moment where it was like, like someone made a point to like speak to the group, like, and asking to go within, you know, Cass really did set that space beautifully. And I was so appreciative of her during that, because I wasn't really expecting it, to be honest.
Wow.
And so what did she say? Like, I mean,
you're asking me what she said?
Like, before divvying it up, like what kind of, I'm just trying to remember.
Bro, I have no idea.
Something to the effect of like,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember is all of these beautiful people smiling at me, even though I'm like brand new. Nobody like gave me this like feeling of like, who the hell are you? Yeah. And then being handed supplements, which I thought was beautiful. And like, again, made me feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. Yeah. And
support the body. Like this is, you know, external medicine, you know, what other supplements can help it be a smoother ride and integrate. And
and Sean answered so many questions. I was ready though. Like I felt like I already had my information. I just needed the energy to be right. Yeah. And to trust, you know, whoever was being a part of this. And there's no way you could not trust that.
Right.
So
Cass essentially just was, you know, more or less just giving a pep talk and just beautiful words and just beautiful spirit.
Yeah, and she's
just reminding people to breathe if anything did come up. That was a key component, like a little bit of a disclaimer of like, if things do get a little rocky, like we all got each other's backs.
Yep.
You know, ask for anything you need.
She showed us that everybody had like specific wristbands.
That's right.
I mean, I felt, although I cannot remember a thing that she said, which is silly because I remember everything, but like not in those type of like details. Yeah. I felt like I was fully informed, and that we were all taking this with intention and not just as a form of getting high. Right. You know what I mean? This was not to get high. This was to unlock yourself and to go and to have the experience that each and every one of us were meant to have, to know we're responsible for our own experience, but that we are in support of each other here. And it was beautiful. And
sort of ground into like a family vibe of like
pre
the trauma, pre the drama, pre all this stuff. Like when we just felt such a seamless flow of connection to our parents and to our siblings and our family. It was it's that type of medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we can feel that period as an adult with all of our bodies full of trauma and everything else and programming and the way we've been trained and domesticated, to be able to feel that period, let alone with people that you love, let alone people you just met.
Dude, I'm so in love with them.
Let alone people you admire, you know? Like,
yeah, but the love, dude.
But the love.
But the love,
And
man.
the love. Always the
I
love.
think I'm in a very special kind of place with that. Maybe I should just like introduce myself a little bit.
Please, yes.
Because we're about to get into like why I feel like it was a little different for me, but I'm as a professional cuddler, somebody who engages in platonic touch with people all the time. I mean, I'm just so fortunate to have been able to connect with my body through other people's bodies in safe ways. That's so deep in intimacy that's allowed me to like accept my body for what it is and to feel like she's the best body ever, and to be showed that because I'm confident and it's non-sexual. When we come into a space of non-sexual touch, we get rid of all of that desire or need to perform or to like look a certain way or to all of that. So then you just really relax with people.
And it doesn't, when you say get rid of it, I would imagine that sometimes it is still present, but it's not a priority. It's not something that we're feeding.
Totally.
Or even identifying with.
Well, we're identifying with it because we can always identify with it, right?
Okay.
But we don't have to identify with it and move with that identification.
Yeah.
So we can be like, oh yeah, man, I'm feeling this. You know what I mean? But that can be present along with something else.
Yes.
Which is really cool and powerful.
Totally. And so needed.
Yeah, man.
I think. I mean, it's medicine in
I
this
love my
culture right
medicine.
now.
It's such medicine. And it took me a while. I've been doing this for a while to really learn what's going on there. And but I could dive into that.
I mean, we could definitely do a whole episode. And I want to. Like, when we first met, which, by the way, we've only known each other since January.
Like,
isn't that crazy?
Like 17 million years ago. Like, you know what I mean? But
and also, in human terms, like 7 months. Like, isn't that crazy?
And you don't even live here full time, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah.
But we get close, and so this is, I think what my medicine, which is touch and intimacy coaching, what that has given me is a shit ton of oxytocin with a ton of people. And so hundreds. At this point, I have, maybe I should give a little bit of background here. When you touch somebody, you release oxytocin, which is a hormone that we know is the love hormone, but really is a bonding hormone. It chemically bonds you to other people to touch one another. We kind of reserve that for our sexual people, right? Like as romantic relationships, because we need to touch for a certain period of time, and it's skin on skin touch that creates that bond.
Just want to interject real quick to say we reserve it for romance as adults.
Yeah.
But as children and as parents, it's the most natural.
Yeah. Why is it that we think we don't need that?
Right.
And we're not single family species here. You know what I mean? We're tribal species. And so we need that bond, that hormonal bond with a bigger array of people so that we feel secure in life.
Can you imagine a society that is unified in that way through bonding on a biological level rather than, no wonder we're so scared of our neighbors and strangers and the people on the other side of the political spectrum and the people on the other side of the world, when we haven't even touched our family as an adult, anyone other than a lover, just to be human, just to it's a physical reminder that we're human. Like your heart's beating, my heart's beating, why are we only communicating through this cerebral space? Through
the mind, right? We're missing the body and there's so much there. So we don't get into that as the whole podcast though, because I can't, and I want to, and I can't wait for it. But, cool. So coming into the ceremony with MDMA, I feel like I have this depth of bond with people because I have really been able to master, not perfect, this type of touch with people. And so my body now has hormonal bonding to a variety of men and women at all different age spectrums, all different diversity, all different walks of life.
Oh my gosh.
Like, dude, I think I'm operating different.
You're like a tree. You're like this,
felt that in my yoni.
Yeah. Like when we were on the hike, we found this beautiful tree. I want to say went to it first. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But somehow we're all touching this tree, which is just so like heartwarming to me because that's the nonsense I do when I'm alone.
All the time.
You know what I mean?
Gotta touch it.
Like, I'm saying like stopping at the rest stop on the way up to the festival, touching every tree in the rest stop at 10:30 when no one else is there.
That's how you get to the festival, all right, you know?
Yeah. But you know, like you touch this living thing that's like basically an alien to us because its consciousness is so foreign to our animal perceptions of consciousness.
Yeah.
And you're tapping into this network that's so much deeper than just the tree. It's tapped in with all the other trees. It's communicating through the mycelium network. It's communicating to us through oxygen.
Yep.
You know, so the fact that you've had this, you're like this touchstone that like you have access so many different people's networks and their family trees and like their lineage and DNA.
Dude, I never even thought about lineage and their ancestry and DNA.
And so like when people come in contact with you, it's like they're coming in contact with this like this database.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Fucking nailing it, sister. Yes.
Keep talking to me about what I do. I like it.
So anyway, that was the image that came to me, but go on.
That was really beautiful. Wow. I'm going to have to like sit on that. See, you just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And you, like melted my heart a bit. And I'm like, oh my God, whoa, is that real? Yeah. But there's, I think for my experience, I feel so much love and bonding with people. But there's been something else broken in there. You know what I mean? Or locked away or like
fractured in some way.
Yeah,
or something like that.
This part of me, right? That's just like over there. And what MDMA did, and I can't wait to get into like how we came up because Griff.
My boy. My brother.
I couldn't imagine him doing it any. I mean, that's why like this was made for me, and like it could not have been any better. And I don't think that this is common on how things go down at festivals.
Definitely not at a festival.
So like, thank you guys, like brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. Wow, you guys are doing some serious stuff. Mm-hmm. So as I'm coming in, I felt this like I feel this bond with people. And all of a sudden, the cage around my heart, which was to myself, I don't know if you heard me, how I was like, yeah, man, I'm like, I don't fit in. And it's not that I don't love other people. It's that I don't love myself. And that's what MDMA just took away from me. Totally just took it away. It took it away.
You know, I felt that on my first mushroom experience. I feel like that was my access point to self-love for the first time. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, that just showed me my shadows. But I love that.
How so?
Mushrooms?
Oh, mushrooms showed you your shadow.
Yeah.
Okay. I meant
I was like,
hearing you say that showed you your shadows or something.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, I definitely felt love and rainbows from mushrooms, and I was like so grateful, but I was also like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
We got work to do here.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So we go on this beautiful magical hike as they come up, and we're like crouching through tunnels of caves and huge rock formations.
Yeah.
There's a little trickle of a waterfall. Like, thankfully, shout out to my buddy Coleman giving me the ukulele back in 2018 or whatever. Fucking love you, brother.
Seriously.
Like, that has...
He's just strumming it. You're just literally walking us through the woods. I'm shaking my ass because I'm unlocked from my body. Yeah. I've been so stiff my whole life. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm wiggling. Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm just like, Shanti's playing. Like, how good is it to walk through the woods, be at the beach, be anywhere, and you're just playing, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just a flow. Like, a lot of times it's just something to do with my hands. And, you know, this trip really, like, opened the gate of, like, bro, you want to sing? Like, it doesn't have to be a performance. You know?
But it was.
This time it happened to be a little bit. No, I mean, it wasn't a performance, but, like, so we got to like this one like really beautiful spot, and like Griff goes up on the big little apex of the rocks, and you and are up there too.
Yeah, there was like so many rocks and places, and it was so big, but like all surrounded, and this tree that like the whole tree, you could see its whole root system all the way down.
Yeah, on the so like the cliff.
Oh my God.
And the tree on top of it, and like you could see all of its roots.
Like,
it was wild.
Like, that's like a 60-year-old tree, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, how is it even like that? But everybody was at like different levels.
Everyone just found their spot. Like, sink in, ground in. You know, you guys wanted to get up top. You wanted to I wanted to, you know what I mean?
See.
Like soar a little bit. And I just found this rock, and I'm just trying to strum a little bit.
Right in the center. It was perfect.
Yeah.
You were just right there, man, and everybody really just sat around.
Perfect. Oh, and there was one song that I was like, so Friday over at the cliff, the big cliff jump, there's like sort of a side stage to the main stage of the cliff jump. There's smaller rocks that you can kind of jump into the water, and then there were two big kind of like boulder rocks in the quarry that you could sort of perch on. Like they were still underwater, but you could sit on them. And Jordan had the great idea.
Wait, which one? American or Canadian?
American Jordan.
American Jordan.
This might have been before the Canadians arrived. I could be wrong. I don't believe that they were there, at least at that time.
I couldn't even ask like what they look like.
Yeah, the two Jordans are like identical twins.
Dude, so sweet.
Separated at birth.
So sweet.
So he, you know, because I'm strumming along the hike or the trek to get out to the thing and stuff too, and whatever. And Jordan's like, "Wouldn't it be sick if you got your ukulele over to that rock and we had a little rock concert on the quarry?"
About this. Yeah, she floated it.
And so had their like floaties, is that what we call those? The little whatever, you know, things you can float in across. So I was like, "Would you mind holding my uke and floating it over?" And so I played Ripple, Grateful Dead cover, and like just thumbed around on a couple other things. I did like Bob Dylan thing, did some improv, and it was just like that was like the first moment that I got to just kind of unleash what I do, you know, in a way that people are like trying to listen and were appreciating. And there was this kid sitting next to me when I was playing Ripple, and he was like singing along, and when I finished he was like, "Dude, that's my favorite Grateful Dead song, like thank you." I'm like, "Dude, thank you for singing with me." Like it was just such a beautiful thing. So anyway, so this song Wu Wei is one of my songs, and I was sort of like thumbing on that when I was on that rock, but like it's a longer song, and it's like it's a song that really has some magic to it, so I was waiting for a magic moment to share it, and that was the magic moment that I shared it. And then some other people were on a hike too. I don't know that they were part of the festival, but do you remember that couple that stopped in?
I feel like I vaguely remember somebody passing us, but you know what? I don't know, because at that point everybody was light beings, and I didn't know who anybody was because I had only been there for 20 minutes and I was tripping. I was like blown out.
Well, this couple stopped in and they were like, "Oh, you're playing music, play another one." I'm like, "Okay, I'll throw you some Mr. Tambourine Man." But bro had a Zeppelin shirt on, and I didn't realize that until he left. I would have given him cashmere or something, but anyway. It's like Bob Dylan. I feel like people might know the song. Anyway, it was just a beautiful moment, and I felt so like, just like I said, just such a flow. It was so flow.
That moment was so beautiful for me, and the ways of like watching people, you know, because I'm a people watcher, you know. I think I'm that type of tizzy, you know. I don't know what neurospicivity it is, but I'm just like, body language is so important to me. Like it's probably trauma, actually. It's that empathy from trauma where I'm just like kind of always gauging people's body language to see like what my interpretation of how they are
and how comfortable they are. And those types of things.
And it was really interesting watching everybody just like ground into it. And then so I had a really cool experience up there on that rock. So we're like midway up, like, right, like Riff's a little bit higher than us, and I sit on the edge and I'm not afraid of the heights, which is real trippy. And then I'm like, "Careful, girl. You must be on something because you ain't feeling afraid right now." You know what I mean? So I have this thought, and I like turn my head, and the sun is like right at where like the trees, I mean, it's setting, like it's coming down past the last possible moment, but it just hits me full in the face. I mean, full in the face. And I just turned into it and sat there as the whole sun like went down. So it's just a couple like minutes, not even a minute, you know, it's pretty fast. But then my whole eyes kind of went away. Like it was just so bright. You know what I mean? Like I opened my eyes and I couldn't see anything, and I was starting to feel a little woozy, because this is the moment it's like coming in, and I just want to shout out, perfect. It could not have felt any better. So I don't know like who the master magician was, but like, wow. It was such a beautiful feeling. It's just gentle. It was gentle. It was not scary for me. You know, of course, you know, it's going to biologically do all kinds of things with other people's bodies.
Depending on where they're vibing. where they've been, what they ate that day, all the stuff. There's factors. It's not a willy-nilly thing to just hop into on a whim.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Sean was so sweet in his. Can we talk about his podcast? Like him being like him going over this, and he was like, I don't think that this was meant for anybody more than this person, and he was talking about me, and I was like, I think you're right, sir.
Think so.
I think this was my experience. I told my mom about it this morning. I was telling her all about it.
That's great.
I was like, Mom.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so I'm sitting in this sunlight, and when I moved out of it, I tried to open my eyes and I could not see anything. And I had this feeling that something was wrong with people. You know, I don't know. It's like a sixth sense, or it's in my brain. But
this was still just the crew, or we were back at the fest at this point?
No, we're still on those rocks. Okay. You're still strumming.
Oh, okay.
And but I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to ground myself. So I laid down on that rock over the cliff, and my whole chest was on this cool mossy rock, and I'm just like laid out with my arms like this, looking over the cliff.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
dude. And then I don't even know how to describe it, man.
I just want to say, from my perspective, how endearing and how much I loved looking up and seeing you just kind of like almost like a kid on Christmas, just big chillin'. Just like happy to be. And he's got his camera, and you guys honestly, you guys looked proud of me.
So proud of you.
That felt amazing.
Oh my God.
You know, it's just like seeing some angels out there and being like, wow, those angels are listening to me. You know, like that was really beautiful and really meant something to me. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
This is why, like, all week long, I'm like, Sean, I need you back here to co-regulate me with some touch, because we just had this like incredibly beautiful, intimate experience, and like we need to reground. But
yeah, totally.
I mean, looking down was like I mean, because I know you and because we have this safety, it could have been another musician and it would have been really powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
But because it was you, I mean, talk about an angel bringing me into myself. Like that's all I could see. Like I'm listening to you and I'm watching you and I'm like, man, this man knows my medicine, and this man is like showing up and just look at what he's doing. Look at what he's moving here. And I mean, it's like you can see. It's a little uncomfortable maybe at the beginning, on the onset of that. I did not experience that. I experienced the sun being too bright.
Yeah, right. I was just about to say that, you know, we're speaking from our perspectives because that's all we can do. But, you know, for all we know, there could have been a couple people in the crew that weren't having a super great time. Maybe some people are like, well, Sean will never shut up. You know, probably not, but like maybe. And you never know what kind of thoughts happen.
Yeah, and I hope if that's true, like tell somebody. You know, speak up for yourself. If you need it to be quiet for a minute.
If you need to take space, again, be your own shaman. Like, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like that. But yeah.
But I think that's so important. You know, I think if we're collectively together and you need something from your group collectively, like, don't be afraid to ask for it. If somebody's playing music and you need silence to hear the woods, ask for it. Yeah, just be like, hey, could we just like take 2 to 5 minutes?
Oh my God,
you know,
I'd be so into that.
Just ask for what you need. But this is all coming from this trip because like I know how hard it is, right, to just ask for what you need. And I ain't gonna lie, there was actually a minute by the fire. I'm gonna say it right now because hard things. I think there was a minute by the fire where I was like, dang, I need some quiet. And you guys were playing. I didn't know how to say that. So I felt that. I have felt that before, you know, where it was like, I fucking love y'all's music and I can vibe with it nonstop for sure. But actually, no, there is a stop point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's part of my like shyness. And
glad
like
you said that.
The reason why I don't often find myself stepping into that role because, you know, especially like in circles of musicians, it almost becomes a competitive thing. It's almost like who's going to have the guitar, who's going to be singing at the fire. You know what I mean? And I just have an aversion to competition because I don't like getting in the ring in that way. Like it's not a competitive realm for me, you know. And also just like taking up too much space, you know. Like I could have played for 2 hours at the fire, but it didn't feel like. You know, I tried to sort of get like a song circle going and it wasn't that crowd, which like, I'm just glad I tried.
Well, and God love you. Can I just bring that up too?
Please.
You were like, would you like to say something and do some intentional work here? And I looked down at you and I was like, listen, I probably could have handled that when I was on the Molly, but at this point we're hours and hours in and I have smoked way too much weed and no, I cannot.
Yeah.
But I was feeling your shaman energy so much. And then you did, not too long after that, you started speaking. You stopped playing and started speaking. And I was like, Mama,
Yeah.
hi.
And even that didn't really catch too far, but whatever. Like, I just wanted to try. Like, I wanted us to bring a little bit of like the One Earth and the circles that we find ourselves in really naturally, through leaders like Amanda and Marielle and like the beautiful people that we know that's probably, I'm sure it hasn't come to them naturally their entire lives, but they probably saw someone do it and the way that we see them do it, and like, I want to carry that torch.
Seriously. And I want to too.
Because it's medicine. That's a different type of medicine.
It really is, especially singing together. And dude, while you were trying to like start that, I'm sitting there and that was like another one of those moments of like insecurity where I was like, I should have been Amanda here and not me.
Oh no.
But I have to let that go. And I was like, I'm going to go hold somebody right now. And I'm going to go regulate a human and we're going to be fine. Totally. But yeah, I mean, what's your medicine is what's your medicine. And we're all growing here and I'm excited. I'm very excited. I know that's coming, but I needed this medicine in this time in my life to be able to do it further. But yeah, I feel you. I think, getting to understand more about those people like is inspiring to bring those kind of things, but like One Earth medicine isn't my medicine. You know what I mean? Like I have a very specific type of medicine, but I don't find gardening easy and permaculture stuff. I don't find singing easy at all. Mm-hmm. And I don't always find leading spiritual groups easy. Mm-hmm. I can facilitate information easy, but something about the spiritual realm is just not kind of there for me.
Do you find it easy to follow or not to lead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you do appreciate being in those circles.
I love
it.
Don't
feel called to lead them.
Yeah.
Because I've had my resistance, even with the friends sometimes. Sometimes it's like, hey, like, I'm not necessarily trying to get into a ceremony right now. Like, we're just hanging out with the friends. But I've realized over time that's primarily ego. Because it's primarily me clinging to comfort. And not wanting to be uncomfortable. And like this, sometimes I have a feeling of like, it feels like I'm in kindergarten and we're trying to all hold hands and
but we need that.
Yeah,
we kind of
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But I'm just airing it out that like those little mental gremlins that are just like the ego again, the ego trying to protect itself through comfort and through familiarity and not doing things that might actually feel fun and playful but again, everyone plays in a different way. What might be fun and funny for me might be really freaking annoying to someone else. And that's okay
for now, and it might be really awesome to them later. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I think it really. I'm remembering now what you were telling me about some of your intention with other circles that you had just come from, and wanting to like step into that. So I'm really glad you did too there, because that's that juxtaposition, right, of like where you fit in and feel like you can show yourself practice there, man. And you did. And that's why I can't wait to like be in these circles more. You know what I mean? I'm baby, I'm old as shit, but like I don't actually have a lot of experience in these communities. And it's just taken a minute for that to like creep in. Also, don't get me high on weed. Like if you want me to speak to anything, do not get marijuana anywhere near me, because she just shuts me down.
I think that was part of why I have in my life, and particularly lately, and specifically at this festival, I was really passing on the herbals for the most part. Like not so much on the ganja vibe, just because I felt so much flow and freedom and fulfillment in just connecting with people in the way that I feel comfortable and confident to do so. Like I just want to talk about stuff, and if I'm getting too blazed, I'm not going to want to talk about stuff, or I'll want to talk about really spacey stuff in a way that no one cares to.
Everybody just glaze over.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been that guy a couple of times, either get like really internal and not want to party, or just like partying like a weirdo, like an alien. So like I'm glad that I've gotten to a point where I do feel comfortable and confident and just no thanks.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's all good. No one's my God, the hippies are hardly like peer pressure type of community. Like, oh, you ain't cool.
You ain't cool.
Like find a different camp. Find sober camp. I think it's at the gate.
That's so great. Yeah, so, I have to find it in myself. Yeah, to not do it because I love it.
Everyone's
But
got
I
their
don't-
flow, you know. Like for some
Yeah.
people, it might be the opposite, where if they're not getting into that energy, they are shy.
Yeah, it's
you
it's.
know?
I think talked about this a lot too, where it's like it's a very specific medicine that I have to use, like when it's me time. That's me time
that's when
medicine.
it works best for me too.
Yeah. But man, I got like into it that night. You know, after we got back. Well,
I mean, it was in abundance. You know?
dude, we haven't talked about anything yet. We are still. I can't wait to get to this point where we're on the.
Okay, so let's back it up. So we do the hike. We reach the peak of the hike, the little valley. We all have our moments. Anything else you want to say about the hike, or so then we integrate back
nature.
in? Yeah,
that's what I want to
just-
say about
okay.
the hike is that like I think that was so helpful, at least for me, like being with people but not too overwhelmed, and then putting my heart onto something, like literally physically putting my whole body and heart onto nature. I think was super helpful because like I said, I think I have this maybe, you know, different perspective of being connected to people because of what I do. But it's nature and myself that I wasn't. And so that feels like just a key to that. And so I can't thank Griff enough and that rock enough. Man, thank you for being there for me.
The collaboration of Griff and the rock on that one.
Rocks rock,
and
man.
coming in on the medicine and us all coming in on the vibes.
Seriously.
It was definitely a co-creative experience.
Oh, from start to finish,
start to
you know, and
finish.
just that piece was phenomenal because I think I heard, you know, Sean and Cass talking about that was like, if we would have come up in the festival, it would have been completely different.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then I was so inspired coming out, right? We're hiking
Well, that was
out.
a little weird for me, a little bit.
Oh.
Coming back into the festival from the hike.
It was like bloom, bloom, like walking into like,
Almost a dream.
yeah.
Like changing scenes in a dream or something like that. Like we were in such a homey squad. You know, I'm all about the squad. Because it feels safe and it feels strong.
Yes.
That's why I love the squad, because I love the camaraderie. What can we create together as like,
Yeah. I
you
can
know,
turn to you and like say
you know
something
me,
to you.
You're interested.
Yeah.
We want to be protectors and encouragers of each other. I just love the squad. Yeah. You know, so we squatted deep.
We squatted
into
out all night or all weekend too. That's what I kept hearing. Squat out. And I was like,
that's my catchphrase
Yeah.
at every festival. I've
it
been
got
doing
me
that for
hyped.
years.
It got me hyped. I was like, me? I'm part of the squad. Like, do you know
That's
what
the
that
other
did for
thing.
me?
It really does. Yeah.
I swear to God.
It makes people feel like they're a part of something.
That's right, and which I don't feel.
Which they are. We are.
You made it.
Yeah. Well, we're squatting.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're squatting out. We're squatting out of the hike after squatting deep in the hike. I'm going to say one more thing about the hike. When we touched those trees and everyone put a hand on the tree, there was something, and this is my nerdy side that like gets into RPGs and video games and stuff. It felt like we were like tuning into a checkpoint or like a save point or something. You know what I mean? Like just a touchstone of like, okay,
Whoa.
saving
coming out
progress.
of the-
Saving progress. If anything goes crazy, I can always come back here and restart from the tree.
Dude,
You know what
that's
I
a
mean?
genius idea just to
don't
go
know.
in with that.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that
Yeah.
for like probably everything now. Whoa.
To have those little checkpoints.
Just go back to that tree.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
tree.